Vegas Bad Boy of Podcasting is an entertainment-based wrestling program. The opinions shared are that of the host and their guests. Some celebrity voices are impersonated and usually not well. This program is not intended for kids and certain adults. Listeners' discretion is advised. You have been warned. Now let's get ready to podcast.
This is a special edition from Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy. First up, Douglas James, followed by Jake Atlas.
Welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact, and I got some of the bad boys here with me. King Lucky, what's up, man?
I'm ready to drop kick the world.
Oh, I like that one. You've been working on that one, I can tell. Matt Michaels, what's up?
I am ready to drop kick the world.
Are you? Wait a minute. I copied our guest, and then you copied me.
I love it.
I guess I'll be. All right. Go ahead.
All right. Well, look, hey, we got a special guest, man. So
yes.
It's awesome. Our guest today is an indie pro wrestler who trained out of the Santino Brothers Wrestling Academy with 5 years of in-ring experience. Vegas Bad Boys welcomes Ironheart Douglas James.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm here to drop kick the world as well.
That's right.
What happened?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Hey, so Doug, man, Doug DJ, you grew up a wrestling fan. You know, how long you been watching the product?
Ooh, this will show my age, but
all right, don't tell it, man.
Yeah, no, it's all good. But I've been watching wrestling, since I was a kid. Like, my brother, I have an older brother, and he was into it before I ever got into it. But I remember watching, like Ultimate Warrior and Hulk Hogan and having the toys and stuff. But I didn't really get into it until like the Shawn Michaels boyhood dream era.
Nice.
And so ever since, there's been some lull periods. I did like MMA and probably thought I was too cool for wrestling at one point. But, you know what I mean? Like, I've been watching wrestling for over 20 years.
Wow.
Give or take, and I love it. I've never loved anything like this. No woman has ever had me love anything like this. So
dude, that's what I tell my woman. I don't know if she likes it or not.
Yeah,
I'm like,
probably why I'm single.
Yeah,
or whatever.
I'm like, every year I'm going to WrestleMania. She's like, all right, cool. 1 year you won't be, and I'm like, I don't know about that. She probably won't be happy that when she hears this. But so let me ask you then.
It won't be it.
Right. I'll have DJ cut it out. The other DJ, because we're DJ squared right now. DJ Impact.
We are DJ squared.
Ironheart.
The DJ Empire right here.
That's right.
That's right.
So, who did you gravitate to? Back in the day, was it the good guys or was it the bad guys?
It was usually always the good guys. I do like villains. Well, villains are cool, but as a kid, I always liked the good guys. And if you guys don't know who I am, I'm not a very big guy. Shocking. But so I've always kind of grew up liking the underdogs or the smaller guys. Shawn Michaels is probably my favorite of all time.
Yes.
He's not a very small guy, but in theory, of when he was in wrestling, he was a smaller guy. And my first favorite wrestler was the 1-2-3 Kid.
Oh man. Yes.
Yeah. So he was like the dude for me, and like I liked Spike Dudley, Rey Mysterio. It's another one of my favorites. I always just like the good guys. I like guys. That stood for the good Bret Hart. I love Bret Hart.
Yeah, Bret Hart was the man. Did you? What's your all-time favorite HBK match?
Ooh,
that's a tough one, right?
It is. All right, so like I don't know if match alone, but for what it all encompassed, the Iron Man match. But I'll never forget where I was watching it. I watched it with my mom when I was a kid. I was wearing my Shawn Michaels T-shirt. Wow. Like those kind of memories are powerful for a kid. And I remember, like, I'm from New Jersey, so that was pretty late in the night, and I had to go to school the next day. It was a Sunday night, you know.
Yeah.
So that's like a big memory for me. But I think overall, like, match itself, the two that stand out for me would be Shawn Michaels, Kurt Angle, WrestleMania 21.
Ooh, that was a good one.
That was incredible. His match at WrestleMania 25, The Undertaker, is really good, but I think everyone loves that. So my other one would be the Shawn Michaels, Chris Jericho ladder match in 2008. That was pretty awesome. So yeah, I mean, all of his matches, he was the best. Best of all time.
Definitely. And you mentioned your mom. How helpful is it that your parents like kind of supported you, you know, and let you watch wrestling? Because, you know, wrestling, sometimes parents take one stance on it, like, hey, you know, this stuff is fake and all this stuff, and you know. But then there's the other parents that'll take you. I remember when I was younger, I went to the sports arena in Los Angeles and saw, you know, Hulk Hogan and all the greats. So how helpful is that you know, they've supported this?
It's super helpful. I mean, I think it really kind of led me to where I am today. I mean, my parents have always been really supportive. I grew up playing sports and things like that. It's kind of funny. My dad used to take me to, like, every time they were in town, he was able to get tickets, whether it was through work or my dad's just always been good at getting sports tickets and stuff. And but, like, he didn't like it. You know, he didn't like wrestling. He would bring binoculars to look at the girls. You know?
Oh man, that's awesome.
Yeah, like he was because it was like the Attitude Era, right? So he was bringing the bikini contest and stuff. So he was all about that. But I remember when I was like 12, he was like, "Oh, this is like a fad; it'll go away." Well, apparently it's not gone away.
It's here to stay.
But yeah, they're really supportive. I mean, yeah, like I said, my dad's been like a coach for me growing up, and my parents have always gone to all the games, my wrestling matches in high school and stuff. But they hated that I did MMA. Mixed martial arts. They hated it. And they did not want to see their son, you know, get elbowed and kneed in the face and stuff. But so they kind of like I do pro wrestling more, but I still get elbowed and still get kneed in the face. So, but yeah, they're really supportive. It's pretty awesome. So I'm very lucky.
So what drew you into MMA fighting?
Well, I guess to be a little bit more like transparent is like I am a smaller guy and. I guess there was like a part of me that didn't I used to watch all these wrestling documentaries, right, or all this stuff, and like I had an idea of how to get into wrestling, but I just like never believed in myself enough. I guess I was smaller, even though Rey Mysterio was a thing and he's awesome. I just like never felt like I could do it, and then for me it was a natural transition. I was a pretty good wrestler in high school. Didn't want to wrestle in college. So I partied and then like took some time, and then when I was 20, I started doing jiu-jitsu. It was like I was working at this place, and a friend of mine was like, "Hey, the first class is free," and I was like, "All right," and I took the class, and I literally on my first day was tapping people out in ankle locks because of Ken Shamrock.
Wow.
And like it's like I got tapped out too, but like I literally tapped people out my first day, but like primarily because of Ken Shamrock. So, but I ended up doing like a tournament a week later, and I'm pretty like an all or nothing guy, and I just kind of like jumped in, and I was doing MMA for a bit, but that was kind of it. It was like a natural progression for me, and fitting for somebody my size, I guess. So, and it was pretty hot then, like started in around 2007. So it was like right before the boom of MMA, or like in the middle of the boom. So,
and how did you deal with the pain that comes along with going and having the shit beat out of you and beating the shit out of someone, and in wrestling you run the ropes and you take the bumps, and of course there's all that kind of pain. Was there anything that you were doing to dull the pain?
Well, that's pretty wild. I guess I'm just like a psycho, you know what I mean? Like, what am I doing? I grew up, like I said, playing sports, so I had a lot of injuries growing up. Like I tore my MCL in my knee when I was like in 8th grade, and when I was a senior in high school, I tore my ankle and had surgery for my ankle. Reconstructive surgery. I've broken a lot of bones, like my wrist, my elbow. But with MMA, it's just like it's like a all right. So maybe I'm wrong, but I think to compare the two is like MMA is a lot of like small joint pain. Like your fingers will hurt from like jiu-jitsu or something. Your wrists from punching. Your body has a lot of like mat burn and things like that, or like your toes and your ankles kind of hurt. With wrestling, I feel it's primarily like full body pain. Like it's like what hurts. It's like what hurts. Oh, from the bottom of my foot to the top of my head hurts. Like it's everything. And but I think with wrestling, the thing was I didn't know exactly what I was getting myself into. Maybe with like the politics or like things like that, but I knew it was gonna hurt. Like I didn't have any. I didn't think it was a mattress, or a trampoline. Like there's a lot of guys that they show up to Santino's, and they have their gimmick all planned out, like they're gonna be, like Sailor Jerry or whatever they will come up with, and then they get in the ring and they bump and their eyes bulge out of their head and they quit because it's like, oh, this is painful, and I think I just had an idea and I'm pretty stubborn, so I wasn't gonna quit just because it hurt and. But yeah, it's rough, man. Like, I wrestle pretty often now, which is awesome, and I'm very grateful for it. But yeah, I'm in pain too often, and but it's par for the course. And I've been like now I'm getting smarter, so I recover more,
Yeah.
And I go to the gym often. I like to be in shape. I want to look a certain way, but I also do the sauna or I stretch or I have a really heavy duty foam roller. It's not even foam. I don't even know why it's called a foam roller, but it's like heavy duty. I use a tennis ball. I had that bad injury recently, and so I just try my best to always be at the optimal level possible to perform. So,
dude, I'll tell you.
Yeah, back in the day, I would drink or smoke a lot of marijuana or things like that to numb the pain. I don't do any of that anymore. So now I just gotta bite my lip and take it and then complain to people in private, That's about it.
For anybody thinking that they want to get into pro wrestling, they should just look at your Instagram page because you always post the gnarliest things that happen to you in the ring. Like split lip, you got, a busted eyebrow. I mean, this is all real stuff.
I like to say that I'm as real as it gets, but in pro wrestling, it's very physical, but like somebody had told me once, or a lot of times, wrestling is a lot like ice cream, and there's different flavors, and everyone likes different things. And whether you're, maybe a comedy wrestler or a deathmatch wrestler or a lucha or high flying, a flip artist kind of thing, like there's different things. And for me, like it's about being physical and intense, and like my intentions behind everything. It's like it's supposed to be a fight, and that's what I do. And so I expect to get bumps and bruises and cuts and injuries along the way. I mean, I hope to minimize it all, but it's par for the course. And I know what I'm getting myself into, and I just try to do the best to recover in the best way possible. Yeah, like, sauna and stretching and, ibuprofen and things like that. But, yeah, man, it's wild. Injuries are crazy. I've been cut up and, cut up my lip and having to super glue that, and in November I dislocated my hip.
Oh.
I didn't think I'd ever wrestle again, and that's what I was told, and so like it happens. People break their legs, I tear their ACL or things like that. It's physical, and it is what it is, and there's no way around it unless. I mean, you can get hurt walking across the street, so might as well do it in a pro wrestling ring.
Right, might as well do it chasing your dreams.
Yeah, man, like that's what it's all about. Do what you love, 100%. Do what you love.
Now, let me ask you this: you train at one of the most elite schools in the country, Santino Brothers. How did you get started there?
It's a crazy story. So I had a little bit of training in New Jersey before I moved to California. It was like a small school. I had a match after training for like 5 weeks.
Wow.
Kind of crazy. But I ended up moving out here for like life reasons, and then I almost joined Knox Pro, but it didn't work out. It's very expensive and blah, blah, blah. I ended up going back to MMA. And while I was doing MMA, it was two summers in a row where I trained all summer long for a fight, for a pro MMA fight, and the fight got canceled like a couple days before the fight. It happened twice.
Wow.
And so like I spent summers all summer long dieting and training for one person, and then it got canceled.
And
the
they were
second time
scared of you.
it was like, well, of course, right? No, it was. I think it was the second time it was the promotion that happened. It was that, and like the promotion fell out or something. So it's very similar. Regional pro MMA is very similar to pro wrestling. But I got to a point where I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't love it enough. I need to wrestle. And my brother owned a food truck, and I was working on the food truck. And I didn't have like a lot of money by any means, so I remember Santino. I Googled, like I found Santino's through Google. I didn't know anything about the scene. I knew nothing. You know, I didn't know who like Ray Rosas and Peter Avalon were, or like Bad Dude Tito or anything. Like I didn't know. And I won on a $2 scratch off. I won $200.
No
and
way.
$200 was the enrollment payment, and like 2 days later, I signed up.
Wow.
And I thought Joey Chaos was like Kid Chaos's brother or cousin. I didn't. Yeah, I know it's kind of. I didn't realize it was Kid Chaos because I grew up watching XPW. I used to have the VHS tapes from in New Jersey, and I had like a DVD. And Kid Chaos to me was blonde hair Chaos.
Right.
I didn't realize Joey had this like long curly brown hair when I met him. And I had no idea. So that's kind of funny, like, because Kid Chaos was, like, one of my favorite wrestlers growing up. So it's like a very small, wild ride. And I had some experience, but I kind of lied a little bit and told them I had a little bit more experience. And so I never had a beginner's course. I jumped right into the intermediate and advanced classes. And it's been a wild ride, man. And, yeah, very lucky like that. I found them through the way I did and how it all happened, because it really is one of the, if not the best school in the country. It really is. And they produce, obviously, some guys, like Brody King and Jake Atlas. The guys before that, like Eli and things like that. But, even guys before that, like Bad Dude Tito, Ray Rosas, all these guys, they're really good. And, and there's a family atmosphere there. And, I just feel very fortunate, blessed to be able to be there. And it was not easy to become a wrestler.
Yep.
So, very grateful for it.
Well, speaking of not easy and being a wrestler, you had a match at Natural Born Killers here in Vegas where you faced Tom Lawler. And Filthy Tom and you just stole the show. Until Moxley showed up, then that kind of stole the show.
Yeah, I know. I knew that would happen.
But in terms of the in-ring performance and stuff afterwards, you guys were the match people were talking about the most. Yeah. What was it like with having this new? And for listeners who haven't seen this, you can check it out on Fight, and it's Natural Born Killers. And what was amazing is it was a combination of shoot and work wrestling. What was it like for you two having to basically wrestle something that was not really a traditional style match, but something to, especially with no flips, from the no top ropes, no outside the ring stuff, no steel chairs. What was it like just going and doing the pure chain wrestling and really just beating the shit out of each other? It was amazing.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I mean, I loved it. I have a hard time being like, oh yeah, my match was great. Like, I don't know why. I'll always be like, oh, it was fun or it went well. I don't always say like, because that's not my call, right? It's the audience's call. But to me, like, I loved it, and the reason why I think it worked is because I have a jiu-jitsu background. I was a purple belt under Eddie Bravo at 10th Planet, and Tom Lawler's Tom Lawler, a former UFC fighter, and I love that kind of stuff. I love wrestling, actual grappling, and and I love hitting hard and getting hit hard back. I'm all about it. I just think it just worked perfectly, and on a card where there were some people that did really well, but they're newer to pro wrestling and more MMA.
Right.
I think we were able to kind of stand out in the fact that we were able to do both. You know what I mean? And like, and in a good way. And the show was great overall. I think everyone did awesome. But I think that's what helped us, was that for sometimes you don't have chemistry with somebody.
Right.
And that's a real thing. But I think we just instantly had chemistry with each other in the ring. And like, he hit me hard, I hit him hard back, and it just worked, you know. And yeah, I love it. I don't even do many flips anyways now, but like I love being like down and gritty and like fighting, you know. Like
right.
that's my jam. That's the brand I want to build out. That's the whole Ironheart thing, because I'm a fighter, you know, and I put my heart into everything, and that's like a shoot. I can't be anything that's not me, you know. I think that's what's worked for me in my career so far, is I'm me, you know. I'm not like, you know, Dr. Isaac Yankem, you know. I'm me at work, because I guess I'm a bad actor or something, but that's just who I am, and I think that's why it worked well. Yeah, Tom's great. Tom's awesome. So a little mixture of both, you know, a little MMA, UFC fighting, to getting dropped on my head with a tombstone to the end. So,
who do you see right now in terms of you got like AEW out there, you got NXT, you have Ring of Honor, you have Impact. What do you see in terms of those organizations, New Japan as well? Do you see yourself possibly fitting in at one of those companies? Are you on the radar of anyone right now?
So, one radar, that's a good question. I mean, I hope so. I hope I'm on all of them. You know, to be honest, I really do. I hope all of them are watching me. But that's actually, I don't really know. I think I'm on a cusp. I think, you know, I'm wrestling guys, or I have wrestled guys that are signed to whatever company. You know, I've wrestled a lot of them, and I feel like I'm on that cusp. Every show I do, I generally have one of the better matches. And yeah, I think I'm on that cusp, but I don't know. But and then fitting in, I think this is like one of the craziest times in wrestling history.
Yeah. And
I feel very, very lucky to be, you know, I've been wrestling shows for like 4.5 years. Like I'm on that point of breaking out at a time when wrestling is like the biggest it's ever been. I always talk to people that don't really understand wrestling, and it's like, all right, well, in the 80s, it was Hulk Hogan, right? And then in the late 90s, it was The Rock and Stone Cold with the Attitude Era boom, and it got mainstream. And then it kind of fell off a little bit, and there's been waves up and down. But now it's this independent, non-WWE boom, you know? And, like, people are leaving. You know, like TJ Perkins is leaving the WWE because he's not happy, but he can make more money doing something else. And that's awesome. That's, like, crazy. And not saying that, like, if the WWE were to call me right after this phone call, I'd go there, of course. You know, like, I grew up watching. But I honestly, in a non-conky way, feel like I could fit in anywhere. I feel like I can wrestle anybody, whether they do lucha, strong style, you know, American style, hardcore wrestling, grappling. I feel like I can match up with anybody. And I feel like size isn't an issue anymore.
Right.
Like maybe 15 years ago, WWE wouldn't really be for me. You know, I'm like 5'8", you know, and but now, you know, it doesn't really it really doesn't matter. As long as you perform, look like an athlete, are an athlete, I don't think it matters. So yeah, like I did like the New Japan dojo camp with Shibata for about 4 days. That was a great experience. So maybe a little bit on that radar. I've done extra work for the WWE. Yeah, you know, like I feel like I would fit in great at Ring of Honor, and I feel like AEW, it's we don't know how big it could get, AEW, because it's still in the infant stages, but it's looking great. It's looking like a really good thing. And I think if anything else, say it doesn't do well. I don't think that's the case, but say it doesn't do well, I think it changes the game. Like, I think it'll change how the WWE operates.
Right.
I think no matter what, it is a game changer in a certain way. may not be like WCW game changing. It could be. I hope so. But it might be something where WWE is like, oh shit, like we need to like fix what we're doing, or whatever it is. And same with like Ring of Honor, they're great. They've been around forever, but now they're like, oh man, there's like another place, another company coming in with awesome talent. We need to step it up. And it's all going to step everybody up. And the more promotions there are, the more people will get signed, and then the more there's spots opening up on the independents for bigger shows, and it's all good. So yeah, I think it's the perfect time to be in wrestling. So
yeah,
long-winded answer.
No, it's great because it is true. It's a great time to be an independent wrestler because you can go from one day, wrestling in Southgate to the next day traveling around the country. So it's great. And your skills definitely are top notch, and I'm sure that somebody's going to be picking you up soon.
Yeah, I'm hoping, like I got in really good shape, so I at least could look like a pro wrestler. Even if I'm not, at least I look like one. But it's more like, I'm only 4.5 years in, so I'm still all like figuring it all out. I feel like I'm hitting my groove, but I made this post recently, and it was like, since May 31st, I haven't had a weekend off, and I won't have one until like October, right?
Wow.
So I've been on the move, but like, I think it was like 3 weeks in a row. Like I did a PCW Ultra. I forget what date it was, but there was like over 1,000 people there.
Wow.
And then like a couple weeks later or a week later, I did the FSW anniversary show, and there was almost 1,000 people there.
Yeah,
sold
we were
out.
there. It was crazy.
Yeah, and then I did other shows where they're sold out or close to being sold out or big crowds, and it's like, or I did AAA and it was like 4,000 people there. Like wrestling is at like a really good point. I've been on plenty of shows where there's like 10 people there,
Yeah.
and then there's these shows 1,000 people, over 1,000, and it's incredible. It's really cool, and like sure, I want to be there when there's 20,000, 50,000. But right now, this is really awesome. And, like, yeah, the FSW show at Samstown, getting to wrestle T.J. Perkins in front of almost 1,000 people.
Man, that was a great match.
Going crazy, and that's what it's all about, And, like, that place was packed. And, it's like, it just goes to show you that wrestling is at its boom. It's like, it's not just the WWE. It's not. It's pro wrestling. Sports entertainment, right? All it's like, it's a boom. Crazy.
You're 4 years in, and you've got a lot of championships under your belt. What was it like winning that first one? Do you still remember it?
The first one?
Yeah.
All of them. Yeah. It was really special to me. Yeah. So there's a little story behind that one too. But I believe the first one. It's not the first one. This is the one that was kind of the most important to me. Was I wrestled. So I believe it was 2016. So I had just won the Southern California Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
And in June, I had gotten the award, whatever, like a month or two before, and then I wrestled B-Boy, who was the Wrestler of the Year at the time. Wow. And we wrestled in San Diego at a company called FCW. And he was the champion, and we wrestled. And it really was like the match that helped not like break me out, but like establish me as like, I'm not just a rookie, like I could hang with anybody. And that was the match that started the Go DJ, Go DJ, Go chant. and it was wild, and like, cause I was wrestling this guy B-Boyz and wrestling for almost 20 years, and he's from San Diego, and the whole crowd was rooting for me.
Wow.
And it like really, and then he put me over after the match. He ended up winning, put me over after the match. And it really helped me, like, all right, like, I'm on that next level. And then we wrestled in November. So that was in June. In November, we wrestled in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the title. And I ended up tearing my ankle in the first 10 minutes of the match.
Oh.
I jumped off a bleacher to do, like, a flying knee. And I landed just all my weight on my left leg, and my ankle rolled. And I heard a crunch.
Ouch.
And I never went to the doctor, so I think it's torn because I tore my other ankle. And that's why I think so. But I was hurting for a long time. But I ended up wrestling like 32 more minutes. We wrestled for 32 minutes. So I wrestled with a half hour on like a torn ankle. And I ended up winning the title in that match, and it was just like really, I don't know, man. It was like my boyhood dream, right? You know, I used to watch Shawn Michaels and all that stuff, and to me, it's like they shouldn't matter that much, but man, it mattered to me a lot, and just because of and also like the story behind it too was, so that was in November. I want to say it was a year, just about a year before I got in the car with a bunch of people, or 3 other people, to just go to San Diego just to meet people. I was new. It's kind of not a lot of people do it anymore, but it's kind of what you do. You just hop in a car and like hope for the best. I brought my gear just to meet people, and I was able to get on a pre-show. And last minute, like they couldn't pay me because it was so last minute, but I was able to get on and made a triple threat match. So a year before, I got myself on a triple threat match, pre-show match for no money, and a year later, I was their heavyweight champion. It's kind of crazy. So. No. So like, you know, like it was really important. It really helped me in establishing who I was out here in Southern California or the West Coast, and I always be appreciative of B-Boy. You know, he really helped me out a lot, and yeah, it was really special to me.
Dude, you got some great experiences. I hope you're, you know, kind of keeping maybe a journal of this stuff, because at the end of it, you know, looking down the road, it'll make for a great story.
I got it up in my vault, which is my head. You know, the vault. No, but I should write it down. Man, I got some wild things, man. But yeah, it's been like such a crazy roller coaster ride, you know, and that's what it is. And I've had to, to be completely real, like get used to the drop down of this roller coaster. You know, like right now in wrestling, I'm riding that high. You know, it's really good right now for me. But there are times before, or there are going to be times in the future where they're not as good, and you just have to roll with it. You gotta be like Bruce Lee. You gotta be like water, you know, and go with the flow. And be a water, go in the cup, become the cup, you know. And I used to let it get to me. I used to really let it eat at me, whether it was like not getting certain things or seeing other people get things. And now I just don't give a shit, and I just focus on myself, and it changed my life. And because it's a wild ride, you know, and there's no guarantee on anything. And so I just try to control what I can control and do me and do it the best way possible.
Really quick, regarding, you know, that, doing you for you, what was it like being able to celebrate being a year sober? Yeah,
so it's wild. So I'll be a year sober, what's today? In like 10 days or something like that, on the 24th. Nice. It's pretty wild, man. And like, it got to a point for me, you know, to disclose everything without disclosing everything, but it was like, you know, got to a point where it was going to ruin my life, you know? And it wasn't like, you know, I was getting all this trouble or anything like that. But for me, it was bad. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter, you know, if you're drinking like 40 bottles of vodka a day or you're doing one. Whatever it is that's going to hurt you, then you need to like check yourself. And I had to check myself. And I was in a relationship and basically ruined that relationship. And I was like losing friends. And it's just wild to look back on where I was to where I am now, physically, mentally, spiritually, where my career is. And it's all because of that, you know, like if I don't stay sober for me, you know, I think it'll all go away eventually. And I'm like super grateful. I try to check myself all the time. Like I was saying, I used to let things really get to me. Like, you know, like I did PWG and I thought that was going to change my life. You know, I remember telling my dad, be like, this is going to change my life. And it didn't go well, in my opinion. And the reason why it didn't go well is somebody ended up getting hurt in the match, and it's not their fault. Things happen, but somebody gets hurt, and like all of my stuff ended up not being able to be used in the match, so to speak, because somebody was hurt. So we had to end it shortly, you know. And if anybody got hurt in that match, like on a not physically, but on a like a career-wise, it happened to be me. Like all of my offense was cut out, you know, and it really ate at me. It really like drove me kind of crazy. And then there was like another thing too. Was like in June, of last year, the WWE had hit me up for a tryout. And, like, they hit me up. I never contacted them. And then, like, a week later, they emailed me being like, sorry, all the spots are full. And I was like, wait, excuse me? Like, you hit me up.
Yeah.
You know, it really, like, pissed me off. And I was not in a good place anyways. But it was like things like that. Like, I was driving myself insane, you know, and focusing on other people. Like, oh, what is this person doing, or whatever it was, and or placing blame. And I just, like, I don't know, man, got it together, thankfully. And I'm, you know, like, not everything's always going to go well. I mean, I dislocated my hips over, you know, like, I've lost friends over relationships or not gotten opportunities or whatever. But it's the way you handle things and the way you look at life. And, you know, I couldn't imagine my life being how it was before. And it wasn't like it was completely bad, but it was bad for me or what I wanted for my life. And, yeah, I love wrestling so much. And, you know, I'm a very passionate person in general, and I want to make it. And I don't know what that means by making it. I don't know if that means, you know, NXT, WWE, or it means living in Japan, or what it means. But I just know, like, I can really do something with this. And I would only be selling myself short if I did things to hurt myself like that. And so, yeah, I'm in a really good place. It's a year. It's kind of wild. And, yeah, just super grateful for everything. I'm grateful for all the bad stuff that's happened because it's led me to where I am today. I get a little kind of cheesy spiritual sometimes and like, oh, you know, everything happens for a reason. I used to think those people were crazy. And now I'm that crazy person. Because I do think, like, all this stuff, like say I would have gotten that tryout last June. I don't think I would have been really ready to do it,
Right.
you know? And so I'm, like, grateful it didn't happen, you know? Like, all right, well, maybe it'll happen when I am ready, you know? And things like that. So, yeah, all good, and yeah, it's kind of wild, man. But
Yeah.
that's weird.
In the meantime,
still crazy.
yeah. In the meantime,
Still sober. So
yeah. And in the meantime, you still put on top quality matches.
yeah, like I might have ruined a relationship or whatever, but I didn't ruin wrestling.
Getting those reps.
You know, like I was. Yeah, like I got, you know, I never like drank before I wrestled or anything like that. But it was like, you know, I just wasn't doing well. I got out of shape. But like, it's like I wrestled Zack Sabre Jr. And I look back and I was like not in good shape. You know, the match was fine. People liked it. That's cool. But I'm like, man, imagine if I like was now. You know, I try not to live in that world. I try not to like what ifs or shoulda, coulda, woulda thing. But yeah, like I got away with things. I look at it like that. Like I got away with it. Now I'm like doing better than I'll go in and I do better than I was thinking I would do. And yeah, I'm just like performing to my optimal level, the best level possible now. And I don't really get tired. I mean, I do get tired, but I'm in good shape, and I'm mentally I'm good. And I think that's the most important. So.
Yeah, and you're always posting pics of working out or you know. Showing off. What kind of music gets you going when you're in the gym?
Oh man, this is going to be embarrassing. But no, I listen to all different things. You know, I like a lot of like punk rock or like rock music. But I also listen to a lot of 80s music. Like I'll listen to Phil Collins or like pop music. Like I don't give a shit. But I'll listen to like Killswitch Engage or like my brother was in this like old emo band. I'll listen to them sometimes. Band was Census Fail. I'll listen to them and stuff or like or like Eminem or certain hip hop. But yeah, mostly it's very eclectic and it depends on my mood. If I'm like really tired and I don't really want to be in the gym, I'll probably listen to something pretty heavy. But if I'm in like a good mood, I want to be there. Yeah, like Studio is going on by Phil Collins.
Studio.
Yeah, I'm in it. But yeah, I'll listen to like Rocky theme music. You know, Little Eye of the Tiger,
Little Jersey
like,
there.
Little Hearts on Fire, No Easy Way Out. All different stuff. I would say mainly rock or like pop music. Going.
No Easy Way Out. For all of you listening who don't know what that is, yeah, that's the scene in Rocky IV where Apollo has just been buried and Rocky is driving around in his car, contemplating his friend's death and should he get revenge on Drago.
It's literally my favorite scene ever. Every time I hear the song, I almost use that as an entrance at one point, and I would just like picture myself in a Lamborghini, you know, with like my wife hating on me.
Yeah.
You know, those are my favorite movies. Rocky. Those are my favorite.
Nice. And it's no secret that you love pizza. Is that your favorite cheat meal?
Excuse me? Sorry, my favorite cheat meal?
Yeah.
It's like my favorite every meal. Yeah, I changed my diet around. I used to eat it like a savage, like too much, you know. I almost like was like living the gimmick too hard, and yeah, I can get a little nuts. I'm still nuts. I'm just sober, but you know, yeah, like for me, I'm from New Jersey, so we have really good pizza out there, and I wrestled in high school. I used to cut a lot of weight. I cut a lot of weight when I did jiu-jitsu and MMA, and it would always be like my go-to. Like when I wouldn't have to worry about whatever I ate, I would eat pizza.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And like any like a family gathering, like my dad is a pretty picky eater, so I'm not even Italian, which is people think I'm Italian. I'm not. I just like pizza. I'm from New Jersey who likes pizza. I'm not even zero. I'm 0% Italian. But like we would eat Italian food a lot, and the whole pizza thing just kind of got out of control. It was like I would just make stupid pizza captions on Instagram. That's how I would just say something stupid, or like it would just be so dumb. And I remember all of a sudden I was at a show and people were chanting pizza, and I was like, "Holy shit!" and then I did like a Ninja Turtle type shirt as my first shirt with a pizza on it.
Yeah.
And it just like took off, and now I have a pizza tattoo, you know, and yeah, it's wild. Yeah, I love pizza. It's the best, but also some of the worst food you could put in your body, you know.
Right.
But I do everything like portion control. So I still eat pizza. I had pizza last night. It's great.
Well, let me ask you. It's late at night. You want to pick up the phone.
I love pizza.
You want to pick up the phone and you want to order pizza. Who are you ordering pizza from? Pizza Hut, Papa John's, or Domino's?
Why the hell did you have
Pizza
to?
Hut. Pizza Hut is my favorite out of those.
Boom.
The underrated. I feel like the cheese is better. I can get into this, but yeah, I like Pizza Hut the most. But I do like Domino's thin crust the best.
Oh,
like if that makes sense. So if I'm gonna order like pizza, like I'll probably Pizza Hut's a little more expensive, I think. But I would rather get Pizza Hut. But if I'm like,
wait, hold on. You're in L.A.
Yeah.
What is your go-to pizza place in L.A.?
Okay. So I live in North Hollywood, and there's this place called 2-for-1 Pizza. It's North Hollywood.
Sure.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great, and they have like amazing cheesy bread and stuff. I ordered from. I paid $50 last night on pizza.
Wow.
So, out of control. But yeah, I mean, I ordered for a couple people, but
well, shit,
yeah,
man.
2-for-1. Or there's also Gray Block Pizza, which is in Santa Monica and Culver City. They have really good pizza. I also like Pizza Rev and Mod Pizza and Blaze Pizza, like those kind of places.
You gotta do Little Tony's, man.
Ooh, where's Little Tony?
Little Tony's.
And how little is Tony? And how little is Tony? You know what I mean?
Well, Little Tony's is okay. It's right there. It's in the. I think it's technically considered. It's either Toluca Lake or North Hollywood, and
oh, okay. So it's close to me. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, and it's that little cross intersection where you have like Odyssey Home Video, and there's a Jersey Mike's across the street there. And there's kind of like it's like a triangle almost there, that intersection, and it's right around I think Cahuenga and Linkersham.
I probably know it. My brain only functions in certain ways, so I probably know it and remember it. But Little Tony's, I'll order it the next time for sure. I'll check it out.
Look it up, man. It's some of the best in that area.
Let me ask
Oh,
you.
that's awesome.
Let me ask you before we wrap up, because we got a major debate on this show. Does pineapple belong on a pizza?
Does pineapple belong on pizza? It does belong on pizza if you were to put it in the trash.
Oh, man.
The best answer I've heard yet. And the correct answer.
Got it.
Dude, that hurt my feelings. That's all right, man. I'm never going to try to, confront you on it because you might, really punch my teeth down my throat.
Man, feelings are fleeting. You know what I mean? You'll be all right.
All right, cool.
No doubt. Hey, Douglas, man, thanks for hanging out with us and everything. Let us know what dates of events you're gonna have so we can let everyone know, and then let us know let us know about your social media handles as well.
Yeah. Okay. Social media handles: Douglas James Pro on Instagram and Twitter. I need to get my Twitter game up. I'm pretty bad at it. I just do a lot of Instagram. So I have Santino's on the 17th, and then I do Expo Lucha on August 18th, which will be awesome because I believe it is Puma King, Flamita, and Laredo Kid versus myself, Adrian Quest, and Jake Atlas.
Nice.
So that should be,
Okay.
Yeah, that's going to be a hell of a match.
and then I it's not announced, but I'll announce it anyways. After that, I'm going back to Defy on August 23rd in Seattle, and then I will be doing Ground Zero in San Diego on August 24th. And then I think that next weekend I actually might have off, and I might just keep it that way. And then I'm going to go back to Portland, and I just keep rolling, and I'm super grateful right now. Back in November, I didn't know if I'd ever wrestle again. And that's a shoot. That's a real thing. And, right now I'm at the peak of my career, and it's wild. So taking everything I can get. Yeah, it's great.
No doubt, man. Thank you for hanging out with us today.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. This is awesome. So thank you guys.
Awesome. We got to get you back on soon.
All right,
Yeah,
y'all.
let's do it.
Douglas James, get his applause now. There we go. The audience love you.
Standing ovation.
There you go. We'll be back in just a moment.
What's up, y'all? This is Sin City Steve. Just urging you to join us, the Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting, as we are going to be at ROH, Death Before Dishonor, on September the 27th, live from Sam's Town here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Bell time is 6 p.m., and the very next night, September the 28th, there will be a live international TV taping. Again, September 27th and 28th, live at Sam's Town. Come check out Ring of Honor.
Hey everybody, this is Matt Michaels, and I'm encouraging you to check out Vampiro's Lucha Fight Club. They'll be having a live event August 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Rio Hotel and Casino right here in Las Vegas. If you're looking for some great Lucha Libre action, Vampiro's Lucha Fight Club is the place to be. We'll be there, will you?
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Simon Street with the Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. Want to let everybody know that on Thursday, September 5th through Friday, September 6th at Sam's Town Hotel Gambling Casino, Impact Live Wrestling is going to be here in Vegas. Again, that's going to be on September 5th and September 6th at Sam's Town Live. We're going to be there. Hope to see you there, too.
This is Ironheart Douglas James, and I'm a Santino Brothers Wrestling alumni. And on August 17th, we are putting on Put Up or Shut Up. And every time I go out there, I show out, show up, and I put up or shut up. So check out the show on August 17th in Southgate, California.
Well, hey everybody, this is Darwin Finch, just reminding you here to catch Wrestling Pro Wrestling at the Burbank Moose Lodge every third Friday of every month.
August 17th, Survival of the Fittest. FSW brings you Graves and Project Body Count. Oh, the numbers get bigger every fucking show. Who's gonna get their fucking asses beat this next show? Survival of the Fittest. Ain't nobody fucking fit enough in FSW. Body Count. is coming. Graves is coming. Survival of the fittest.
Now back to Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting.
Welcome to another edition of Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting. I'm your host, DJ Impact, and I got a couple of the bad boys here with me. Sin City Steve, how you doing over there?
Doing well. How you guys doing?
We're great. Matt Michaels, how are you?
I'm doing excellent, brother, and I'm so excited about the person who we have today, man.
Absolutely. So who we have today, he's a trainer for the Santino Brothers Wrestling, and he happens to be the current ultralight champion from Pacific Coast Wrestling, superstar Jake Atlas. How are you, man?
I'm doing fantastic, guys. I'm very happy to be here with you guys right now.
Awesome, man.
Excellent. And I just see you're grabbing gold everywhere. You just grabbed a couple belts, didn't you?
Yes, I was currently the All Pro Wrestling Junior Heavyweight Champion, and this past Friday I challenged for the Universal Heavyweight Championship at the promotion, and I ended up winning. So I'm in two weight classes now. I guess I put on a few pounds, or I don't know what happened, and I guess I have to wrestle twice now when I go up there. But no, I mean it was a shock, and I'm really honored to have accomplished that, because APW is a very historic promotion, and they've been nothing but kind to me, and they've treated me well, and they've actually, helped my development a lot. A lot of times the way you grow as a performer and as a wrestler is by the types of matches that you have, regardless of whether you win or lose. And they've done a really dope job of giving me some names and giving me some opponents that have challenged me and have pushed me to the limit. I've wrestled Shane Strickland out there, and in one of my best matches, I've wrestled the Jungle Boy, who is one of my best friends and currently signed to AEW. I mean, Reno Scum, who are from Nevada. You name it, and I've had the chance of stepping in the ring with them. So I was very happy, man, and I'm very happy to represent the company the way that I do.
Yeah, I know when we texted a little earlier in prep for this, you mentioned APW, and then you made me feel like the oldest man alive when you said featured on Beyond the Mat years ago. I'm like, oh no, it's 20 years now. It's the anniversary this year.
Oh really? Oh
yeah.
Wow. I feel like I just watched that documentary like maybe a year ago or two or something like that. But that's crazy. 20 years. Wow.
Yeah. So it is. It's nice that the lineage, the legacy, that has been created up there. From guys back in my day when I was training at UPW. Guys would come down. Mike Modest would come down all the time to wrestle for Rick Bassman, and everyone who was up there, Simon Gotch, guys like that throughout the years.
Yeah,
you've got such a great history up there going on, but you're also coming from the LA scene, which, like I said, I trained back in the 2000s, the early 2000s. What is it like now? Because I feel that the hype and the buzz in the LA area is again reaching those levels where you haven't seen it since. You were a kid essentially back, in those days.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I didn't know what independent wrestling was until maybe 2016 when I actually started wrestling. So I can't even imagine, what it was like as I was growing up. But what I do know is we've become a hub. And I say that like very proudly, meaning I think we have some of the most talented wrestlers in the nation and perhaps the world. And what makes it so difficult for us is that we're just so far away from what I like to say, like the popular kids. And I say that because with my experiences now traveling out, like I'm one of the I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I'm one of the few who have done it. I've accomplished now getting promoters to fly me out across the nation, taking a chance on me, and you don't see that often with California wrestlers.
Right.
And a reason being, and again, this is something that I've kind of gathered in my observations and in going to Chicago and New Jersey, New York, and Florida, is that for one, everything is so close over there. You drive, 6 hours, 8 hours, which essentially isn't much,
Right.
in the grand scheme of things, it's not a lot. You cross maybe 3-4 states just in that time frame, where here, if I travel up north in 6 hours, I'm still in California. There's everything.
Shit, Jake, honestly, you travel 6 hours, you're probably still on the 405.
Yeah, actually, you're not. Yes, I'm probably still in LA. Yes,
yeah,
you're not wrong there. Wow, that's a good one. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. So what I've gotten to know is that, and that's why I say the popular kids, because everything's just out there. The wrestling scene, the independent wrestling scene is just, that's where it's at. But you come over to the West Coast and we are some talented badasses. I can name off the top of my head so much talent that I think can mesh well with the East Coast people if people just took more of a chance on us. If people just invested. Investment's the word I'm looking for, because I understand that it's a flight, it's a hotel room, it's lodge, it's just it's pay for this wrestler. I understand that all of that is so involved, but I think it's also a testament to us that we're going to keep doing us and we're going to keep improving. And when they come out here and if they wrestle us out here, we're going to show them that we're just as good, if not better. And I think that we do that, whether it's me or other wrestlers when the East Coast comes over to LA. I think we're doing a pretty good job of that.
And, I think the other thing, too, is you're starting to find guys like Slice Boogie, who's going from the East Coast to LA to train, because Santino Brothers is finally getting some recognition that it deserves. And I really am excited to see that because, again, feeling like the old man. But, I remember when Chaos was wrestling in XPW. And, to see what he's done, and you really kind of gotten the juices going, because you got Heather Monroe, you've got Douglas James, you've got so many different Eli. I mean, what is it like now? Going from when you started just a handful of years ago to see all this talent around Santino Brothers and to have that buzz going.
I think it's pretty incredible to see how we've been able to push the brand past what we could even imagine just by focusing on ourselves. And what I mean by that is wherever I go, I'm going to give my all and my best for me, for Jake.
Right.
And in turn, that helps out the school, because once you look me up or once you ask me, hey, where did you train? I'm always going to say Chaos, Robbie Phoenix, Santino Brothers.
Yeah.
When we travel out, we wear the shirts. We are so proud of where we come from. And it just, every time, we elevate ourselves, it elevates the school. And so then the students that come, they understand this expectation of, you have to put in the work literally You have to strive to just be great, and it will happen for you because it's happening. Like there's the testimonies are there. Brody King has signed the Ring of Honor. Eli, myself, Heather, we're traveling out and making it out of California and making a name for ourselves across the nation on an independent level. We've had, Doug, myself, Eli, Brody debut on PWG. Brody and I being the first Santinos to enter BOLA for PWG. So you see these stats and you see this. And so, as an up and comer, as a student, like Slice Boogie, you see this and you tell yourself, this is the school I want to go to because they're not messing around. I know that if I go to this school, and I say this obviously because I'm from this school, he knows what he's going to get out of it. He knows that what he puts in, he's going to get out because the results are there. He knows that no matter, we're not going to steal his money. He knows that we're not going to play with him. He knows that, you know what I mean? And any student for that matter. In just so many ways, the spectrum is just so, it could be a struggling gay person who's like, I want to be a wrestler, and then they see Santino Brothers, they see their heavyweight champion is openly gay, so they'll go to the school. It just, in so many ways, the school has really elevated itself to be a brand that just exceeds expectations, and I think it's helped the scene out a lot as well.
Definitely agree with that. So earlier on, you had mentioned that the scope of independent wrestling wasn't something that you had a full grasp on until you practically started doing it. What was the moment that you decided, hey, I want to do this? I want to be a professional wrestler.
I think that it was something that I always just wanted to do. So when I would go through as I was growing up, I always had a plan in my mind, like, this is how my life is going to go. Mm-hmm. Boy, has it not gone that way. But you have this plan of for me, I'll give you my example. I did want to go to college. I wanted to go to university. For me personally, I wanted to get a scholarship for cheerleading, cheer nationally for a university, compete nationally for a university, get my degree, get my experience in cheerleading, and then what I thought would happen, I would get scouted by WWE, and then I would end up at NXT as this, we just scouted this cheerleader out of the University of Kentucky, and I thought that's how my story was going to go. So I always knew that it would happen. I don't know if there was a specific moment like that. Maybe as far as where I knew that I wanted to do it, I don't know if there was a specific moment other than it's just something that I always wanted to do. I mean, I would watch Power Rangers when I was a kid, and I wanted to do that. I just always wanted to be active. I wanted to be a superhero. I wanted to be great. I didn't want to be normal. I just wanted to do something really extraordinary. And I obviously grew up loving wrestling, so I pursued that. But when I dropped out of college, I only went to a junior college, JC. I did cheer nationally, and I did become a national champion for cheerleading. Not at a university level, but still pretty cool to do it at collegiate level. And I realized that I was failing almost everything in college and was only going to practice. I stopped going to classes. I would only go to practice, and I would only make it to the competitions. And so I just sat myself down one day and I said, this isn't working out for you. It's not healthy for you. You're only messing up your GPA in case you ever want to go back to school. This is not a good path. Yeah. And so it was at that point where I just told myself, okay, well, you're dropping out. Something needs to click. Something needs to happen. You need to pursue this. And that's when I found that there were wrestling schools. I had known about them, but I just never pursued it or anything. And when I really had nothing going, I was just coaching gymnastics. I was just, going day to day normal. I said, this is you need to make it happen now, since you're not getting your degree. You have to you have to pursue this now. Like, it has to happen. So yeah, I signed up at Santino Brothers, and yeah.
That's awesome.
The rest is history. That's
Yeah.
awesome. With, I know that you've kind of talked about it a little bit in the past, but
Sure.
I know you talked about anxiety, and with anxiety, how deep, was it rooted? Did you seek out help? I know, we've talked about this on the show before. Ron Van Dam did a whole episode with us about, depression and mental health. I myself struggle from anxiety and from depression, and I never knew it. It took, it took some almost 40 years for me to find out that, this was the case. Was this something that was it recognized when you were growing up, or was it something that you started dealing with when most of us start kind of dealing with it when we're teenagers?
I didn't know I had it until I had an injury scare when I was training, and that's when I realized that I was not okay. But it was kind of like I haven't been okay. That was just like the realization, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
I've always had anxiety since I was a kid, and I know that now because when it happens, when I get my anxiety attacks, and I have my triggers, it brings back, it's like PTSD almost. Like, it brings back the times that I would experience this when I was a kid, but it was just one of those things, like, I thought I had asthma. I thought
Right.
but I never had asthma. When I broke my neck in 2015, and it was a hairline fracture to the C6 bone in my neck, and thankfully no surgery was required. But the whole process going into it was what was frightening.
Right.
When I didn't go to the hospital until 2 days after it happened, just because I didn't know that I had a broken neck. It just felt stiff. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced, like, when you're sleeping and then you sleep on the wrong side of the bed, then your neck is like really stiff.
Yeah.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just that. I ended up going 2 days later, and then when I went to the emergency room, the first physician that I see, and I think it was just a PA, like a physician's assistant, he immediately is just like, "Oh, you broke your neck. Looks like you can't be a wrestler anymore." So just the way he handled it was really insensitive.
Yeah.
I was with my mom at the time, and obviously being a wrestler was everything I wanted to do. I hadn't even debuted yet, so I was like, it's over. Like, I have no purpose. And that's one of the things that I struggle with when it comes to depression and anxiety, is the meaning of life.
Yep.
I know some people can deal with that pretty easy, but I can't. Like, it really scares me to know sometimes that nothing has a meaning, or it gets really dark. I won't get into too much detail, but it gets really dark in my head sometimes. And so it really affected me to know that could potentially be the case. The worst moments where I had some thoughts of just calling it quits, just to put it safely, was I had to have an MRI done, and I had never done that before. And if I don't know if anyone ever has, but when you go inside this like tube, it's very loud and very obnoxious, and just very very loud and scary almost. But I was so numb emotionally and mentally, and I was kind of I had decided that I didn't want to live anymore inside that tube. So I honestly, like, the noise was almost blocked out. Like, I was just laying there staring into emptiness and darkness, and just like, this is pointless now. Like, there's no reason to continue anymore. Like, I have nothing. Like I don't know. I don't care to do anything else. I obviously dropped out of school and I didn't want to finish. And it broke my heart even more knowing that my mom was there and she was in tears because she's extremely supportive of me, and she saw her kid's dream kind of just go away before it even started. And it was a quick turnaround. The story I'm obviously a wrestler, so the story obviously does have a happy ending, but the turnaround was rather quick. I had to stay at the hospital for like a day, and the next day a neurosurgeon was able to examine the MRI and everything that was actually going on. And he, went inside my room and just told me, "You're actually going to be okay." And he explained everything in detail, and he just gave me a really, really big warning. He said, if you want to live a normal life, you literally have to be like almost bedridden for 6 months. Like you cannot move. You cannot run. You can't have any physical activity. Nothing for 6 months. Like you need to let this heal on its own. If you don't want surgery, if you don't want any metals put into you, if you don't want any, because it was chipped. If you don't want any of like little piece of the bone, like a sharp piece to fall down and hit your spine and then you're paralyzed. Like he just really ran it down for me. But the only thing I heard out of everything he said was, if you want to just be normal. So I was like, yes, like I want my life, like I want to be able to wrestle. Like, okay, I'll just do whatever. So I had to wear this neck brace, like this really thick neck brace. I couldn't move I had to wear it 24/7 every single day. I mean, unless I showered, but I had to be very careful. It was just brutal. And that didn't help either. Imagine being in your bed for 6 months, not going out, not doing anything. Like it was really, really bad.
Damn.
Man. So, but I'm happy. I'm almost not happy, but I'm glad that I experienced that, because I learned so much more about myself, my mental health, and I mean, I'm still learning how to deal with it, but at least it rose the awareness of, hey, you have you're fucked, like you're messed up.
No, you can obviously, you can say on this show, you're fucked up. I totally. No, you know what? And so when you went into the MRI, they didn't give you like any headphones or anything?
No, they didn't.
Fuck. Wow. Oh shit, man. I mean, I've had a few MRIs done, and the only thing that keeps me sane is the fact that they just play like, whatever music, that you request. Yeah. They throw on Spotify, and it's like, okay, all right, this isn't so bad.
Really? I didn't even know that was a thing. No. They didn't. I had to listen to the loudness.
Yeah. Jesus. Oh, well, you know what? In the end, it looks like that was something that, you had to obviously go through to get to where you are now in terms of.
I think so, man. I think so. I think every day is. I just tell myself everything happens for a reason. So.
So, what would you say then, when you got back into the ring? And you now started, getting yourself back into training. What was the hardest part for you, and what was the easiest part for you?
The hardest part was accepting the fact that it wasn't easy anymore. When I went in, I it's not like I was cocky or arrogant, but I knew that I was good,
right?
And I knew that I picked it up pretty quick when I first started. I was the new kid at Santino's, and I was privately training, and when I finally joined the class, this new kid comes in and he's doing backflips and all this, and people are like, wow, like who is this like cocky ass kid, like like. So I knew that like I was on the right path, so it almost humbled me. Like it humbled me in the sense that I had to go through the grueling process of what now I put my students through and see it on a whole different perspective. getting my cardio up, getting my ring cardio up, being able to do 10 push-ups in a row. I mean, when you do nothing for 6 months, your body gets accustomed to it. And I went from being extremely athletic to learning how to be athletic again. That was the hardest part. And that also, like, it really affected, like my state of mind as well. I one of the biggest things that I struggle with, and the reason why I have mental health issues, is because I struggle with identity issues and confidence issues, and just strength in general, like mental strength in general. So when I didn't have what made me comfortable, like athleticism and it messed me up more. I was like, wow, like you suck, like it was bad. And that was really, but I'm glad that it went that way, because now I understand, I understand what people go through when they don't come from an athletic background and still become successful in wrestling, or people who don't have an advantage and they push through and they persevere and they make it. Like, I just see it so different now, and I'm glad that happened, because I would have never understood it. I would have just been, I would be here today with you on this podcast saying, oh, wrestling training was easy.
Yeah, true.
Next question.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and it wasn't like it wasn't. I had to start literally from zero and build myself up. Like, it wasn't just showing up to the school and learning how to bump again. It was showing up to the school and learning how to jog from the wall to the gate again.
Yeah.
Like, it was very,
It really, in the end, is like a maturity too.
100%. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was 19 at the time. I was a kid. So it was definitely, it's a weird way that the universe wanted me to grow up. But, I'm not against it.
Yeah, definitely. And now, obviously, you're going through a lot of success right now. I say that like it's a bad thing, but you're having a lot of success on the indie scene right now. Do you feel that we are kind of experiencing a revival of the prominence of independent wrestling? I mean, with all of the indies that are out there, and they seem to be more prevalent than almost ever before.
Oh, 100%. I think the best, I guess the best proof, that would be the right word. The best proof is people are paying their bills with this. Like, people are now living off of independent wrestling, and I think that is incredible. In a time where we're told to follow our dreams and do what makes us happy, and we only have one life to live, like that. These are the years where those statements have been the most encouraged, where basically we're told it's not about the money that you make, but you guys know what I'm talking about. Like,
oh yeah.
So I think it's really cool that we're actually making money off of this, so we're able to sustain our lives as well. I understand that money isn't happiness, but yes, it's important. But so it's so cool to see so many independent wrestlers not signed to anything and be able to pay their rent, be able to pay their car payment. Are they struggling? Yes. But are they happy? Yes. Like, it's like, sometimes you gotta pick your battles, and it'll just be so much worth it once you get that signed contract, and then you won't be struggling and you'll still be happy. Like, it's all about perspective, and the opportunities are just there's so much. There's so many opportunities out there, from the littlest leagues to the biggest leagues. Like, we've got 2 major promotions offering 6-figure contracts to wrestlers now, where before there was only one. There was only one company that was offering even 7-digit contracts. Now there's 2 of them. There was only one that was on a major television network. Now there are 2, and then you take it down a tier level. There are other promotions that are on maybe not a major network television, but they're still on TV. And then you have that competition. And I think it's just, it gives us all as wrestlers options. Really fortunate to be in this era right now.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the, I mean, if you were 5 years younger, it would have been a whole different story,
Yeah.
or 5 years older, I should say. With the signing recently of Douglas James into MLW, do you hope to see yourself maybe going to like an MLW, NWA, ROH, something like that? Or are you looking at the big dogs right now and thinking, hey, AEW's got Sonny Kiss. Why not?
Yeah. I think that I'm definitely keeping my options open. I'm open to talk to any promotion that wants to work with me and wants to have me on their roster and wants to promote the same message that I promote, whether it's just by signing me or what have you. Obviously, my end goal is to end up at WWE.
Right.
I have obviously built rapport with Stephanie McMahon through the show Celebrity Undercover Boss, and I've had a Performance Center tryout. It's something that I've always wanted to do since I was a kid. That's what I saw myself doing.
Right.
AEW is obviously on the rise and are also looking to get into the mainstream market, and that's kind of where my vision is becoming a household name and being in the mainstream audience. I say I'm keeping my options open because you don't know what'll happen tomorrow or a month from now, but I'm definitely hoping and aiming towards signing to a major promotion or the big top dogs, because I don't know that time. I was just talking to one of Brody King, who's one of my best friends. That time can come sooner than I think, maybe, and I don't even know it. It could happen, and maybe it can't. But I have to. You just have to. You have to make things happen for yourself mentally. It could be a year from now that NXT comes, knocking on my door, and then if you really look at the grand scheme of life, a year is short.
Right,
a year
definitely.
is not a lot of time. So I don't know, man. I'm happy for Doug, and I think that is a great move on his end, for his career and where he is at right now. And when he told me about it, I was very happy for him. And yeah, I mean, we'll see what goes on. I'm enjoying being on the independents as well, and there are a lot of things that I have not done that I would love to accomplish before I do get signed. So it's all about perspective, I think.
So speaking of that perspective, and this is something that very interesting in my mind, because I guess I don't perceive it. I grew up in Chicago. You obviously grew up in LA. Do you think that somewhere like MLW, because it's rooted in Florida, would be a tougher situation in terms of the fans knowing that you were openly gay?
I don't know.
I know it's a weird question, but it never crosses my mind because, again, I grew up in Chicago, and the bias there is almost nothing. I had friends who were gay, coming out to me in high school.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been really, really lucky to have worked with promoters, wrestlers who have been extremely accepting,
right,
and inclusive. I don't know. I don't know what it would be like if I were to have ended up at MLW. I obviously, we all know about Jim Cornette's infamous comment towards Sonny Kiss.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's really tough. It's tough because, I mean, if we want to go that route, we can talk about WWE and the remarks they've made over the years before it was accepting of before the world rather was accepting of LGBT. Obviously, it wasn't as accepting before, So we could talk about WWE's mistakes, on their past programming. So I don't know. I mean, I feel like that question can apply really to WWE as well. I mean, we don't know. There has not been a direct, straight, like just straight in your face, like gay on TV until this past year, and even then it was very subtle. So who knows how the WWE audience would take it? You know what I mean? Like it's been extremely subtle and almost not talked about. There has not been a moment where on commentary Michael Cole or any other else who has a comment, who comments, has said Sonya Deville, the openly gay wrestler. There's never been a moment since she's been on the roster that they have mentioned it. So who's to say? Who knows? Like, I wouldn't know how the audience would react. You know what I mean? Like, it's.
Well, that's a very good point too, because of the fact that I wonder.
And I'm not saying it's necessary. I mean, that's a whole other conversation in and of itself, and a whole other question. But I'm just saying, like, they haven't done it, regardless of whether I think it's necessary or not. They haven't done it, so it's just like I don't know how they would react.
Yeah, no, I think you brought up a good point, and that is really, I wonder what the marketing team would think about that. And that's where, when you're dealing with a major company like that now, and then Vince is 75 or whatever the fuck he is now, and it's like damn, I'm sure he's probably, well, I mean, he was Ron Patterson for all those years. You would figure that hopefully
it's a never ending confusion in my mind.
And okay, you said confusion in your mind. Let me ask you, when you find yourself, being an openly gay man, you luckily are in LA. What are, some of the things that you have run into, not negatively, but positively, that LA has provided to you? Because I know some of my favorite memories are of like the Pride Fest. It's just like it's one of the best. It's one of the best parties in town, man.
Yes, no, no, I agree. I think with LA being the home of entertainment, there have been many times where, or a few, not many. I'm making it seem like I'm this big camera superstar. There's been a few times where like documentary crews have reached out to me and have wanted to share my story on different outlets. I just recently did a piece with Spectrum, Spectrum News. I know Spectrum News is like popular in some states, like Spectrum News New York, and it's its own news channel. But I know it's owned by the cable company Spectrum, but I think like in New York, I think like DirecTV still has that channel, and like so it's pretty popular. It's a newer project and channel out here in LA that they're trying to get more hype about. But we recently worked on a piece for the channel, and it happened at PCW Ultra, and they've always been really accepting, and they always promote whether it's on commentary or on social media, they always promote the fact that it's Pride Month, and they know that one of their champions is gay, and they've allowed me to wear my Pride gear during Pride Month. They've allowed the cameras to go and follow me and go backstage and see what the show is about. Like that has been the coolest part, because it's LA. It's just so normal. Like it's a part of every day, and that is amazing, because that's all I ever want. Like that's all I ever want to accomplish. Like when it's all said and done and I'm gone and I'm not here anymore, I want life and the world to be just normal. Like everyone's just who they are, and we don't have to come out anymore, and we don't have to celebrate something that should be just, it's a part of who you are. Just like the color of your skin or your nationality. You can't control that,
Yeah, well, I think and you're on the right track with that. Where I think it's very interesting if you look at everyone. I think because of the, I guess, salaciousness and the fears of not understanding things. There's always been this, homophobia.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But the interesting to me is what you can't see on a person's inside is what people tend to like to jump to judgment about on their outside. So, it's interesting. Like you said, you had a broken neck. Well, someone who didn't know you had a broken neck, and let's say when you were just starting to recoup, if you were not doing certain things like, picking up this or, moving that, people would look at you and go, oh, that person's just lazy.
Right.
Because they don't know what's going inside of you. They don't know, but if you would have broke your leg and you had a cast on, oh, well, that guy's broken. He's got a broken leg. So,
Right.
So it's really interesting that people want to know about sexuality because it's like, well, what fucking business is it of yours anyway? What I do in my house with, it's
100%.
Yeah, it's just so, it's always irritated me that, people throw this gauntlet down. And, to me, I mean, the people that I've known, I don't care if you're gay or straight, black or white, or, if you're an asshole, you're an asshole. And if you're a good person, you're a good person. What the 100%.
Fuck? Yep. Mm-hmm. That's really what it comes down to, and that's how it should be.
So do you feel it just kind of almost strange that, there is that focus of like, instead of getting to know Jake, it's more of like, hey, Jake is this gay wrestler. So let's focus on a story like that. And I know you can bring the positivity to it, but isn't it just at some point you're just like, you know what, fuck it. Like, I want to, why don't people just want to know about Jake?
100%. Yes. That's always been that. And I'm always careful when I'm doing, stuff like this, and I'm doing these, like when they reached out to do the documentary, or when people want to interview me, or they're doing, articles about me, or they're reaching out, like every single time, I'm always just so careful with how you're labeling me and how you are perceiving me and how you're presenting me to your audience.
Right.
One thing I was really happy about with this Spectrum piece that I just did is that the headline was not gay wrestler Jake Atlas. It was pro wrestler Jake Atlas discusses fighting for a cause. And that is so important to me because I'm not a gay wrestler. I'm a wrestler. I'm not a gay man. I'm a man. Like it's like, you know what I mean? Like I'm just so that the over the I feel like, and so, over the years, I feel like sexuality has been like a personality trait, and it's like it's not a personality trait. It's literally just who you're attracted, like who you want to marry or who you want to love, like who you want to be seen with. Like, it's not this is the way I am. I'm going to flick my hand, this way because I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to do this differently because I'm gay or because I'm lesbian or because I'm trans. Like, no, I'm not going to, my arm drag is still going to be an arm drag because I'm a wrestler. You know what I mean? Like it's that, like, it's important for me to be Jake Atlas, the wrestler, Jake Atlas, the champion, Jake Atlas, the Santino Brothers trainer. When you ask me, oh, but like, are you gay or whatever? Like, what? Yes, I am actually. And then it's like, whoa, that's so cool. Like, because then maybe you have a little brother that's like, oh my God, he wants to get into wrestling. Oh, dude, you can do it. Like, don't let that hold you back. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's always just been my vision has always just been when people are searching me up on the internet, and they go to that Wikipedia page, like, it's like everything is about wrestling up until you get to like that personal life,
Right.
that little thing.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, he happens to be gay. But
Yeah.
it's like after you've read about all of these accomplishments that he's done, it's like, whoa, like what? That's insane. Like, that's crazy that he was able to do that while doing that, because my advocacy is always going to be there. I'm always going to be an advocate for the LGBT community, and I'm always going to have a voice, and I'm always going to be proud, and but I have to think about my wrestling career first, and I want to accomplish things first. I want to break barriers. I want to be the first person to be able to do these things who people before me of my same, background have not been able to do. And that goes on so many levels, like not just being gay. Then you start getting into details like, well, I'm also Latino, like
Right.
the first Latino to be able to do it. Well, I'm also from El Monte, this small town in Los
Yeah.
Angeles that, like, you know what I mean? Like, I just break it down so much, man, because it's like people like to limit you. People
Right.
like to just like categorize you, and this is where you belong, and it's just so easy because and I don't want to get political, but it's just it came to my mind, like, because of the president we have, it's just so easy to grab someone and just pin them right there. That's where they are. That's where they belong. You know what I mean? Like, and we're just, as human beings, we're just so much more. Like, we are just so much more, and we have so much more to offer. I don't know, that got really deep, but yeah.
Well, I think you make a very good point, and that is, as you were talking about that, I think about teachers that I've had throughout the years. And, I had a number of gay teachers, but never once was it brought out and highlighted that they were, gay.
Yeah.
But because you're in the spotlight, and it's like, that's great, because of the fact that you can be a role model. That is the wonderful thing about the reach of having, being part of the entertainment
Yes.
aspect, which is great. But it's so funny. It's like, yeah, you never looked at, these teachers, Lord knows, I'm sure that when I was, either in wrestling as a kid or baseball or Boy Scouts or whatever, I'm sure there were other people who were gay, but you just never, it was never pointed out. It was never something that was highlighted.
There was no reason to, or
you know, and it's interesting how salaciousness translates into people, wanting to know that kind of stuff. Now, what also translates is into this day and age, how is the internet treating you?
For the most part, a little too good. People taking advantage of pictures I post, and but no, for the most part, I'm able to weed out like the negative stuff. I've gotten some negative comments here and there. The most negative stuff I've ever read was on Reddit, and I can't remember why or what it was. What particular thing happened, but man, I always remember but Reddit is always just bad, I think, because everyone talks shit about everything, so I wasn't too surprised. But I mean, I get things like one time WWE released like this performance center tryout video, and it highlighted me at the PC, and like some of the comments were most of the comments were actually pretty positive, but there's always like that one comment where it's like, well, he sounds feminine, and it's like, okay, well, I can't really change that, buddy. Like, I'm sorry, like, if you think I sound feminine, like, whatever, but how was that drill? Did you like it? Like, I mean, it's like it. Internet stuff for me is just it's so easy for me to block out. I don't know why. Like, I guess because I haven't really experienced it much. I don't think I'm that popular to even experience it that much. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I don't have that many followers. I think once I get more out there and more known on a bigger stage, then I think, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, Sonny Kiss would probably get more negative,
Right.
shit than I would, just because he's on a bigger stage,
Right. It makes a lot of sense. And one of the funny things I'm going to ask you, because of the fact that you kind of reacted of, like, your pictures. So has anyone ever taken one of your photos and posted it as their Tinder profile?
Oh God, I hope not. I don't know. I don't even know how I would, like, find that out. Like,
I know.
And the thing is, I've never had, like, a dating app. Like, I've never. So I wouldn't even know. Like, if that's scary, man. Like,
I know, seriously, right?
What if I'm out there and they're, like, pretending to be? I don't know. I wouldn't know.
Well, the only reason I asked that is because back in about 2000, it was back then it was chat rooms,
Yeah.
and I had just done new headshots and stuff, and I'm at that time I'm bald headed, very much like Austin looking, very influenced by Steve Austin. And it was a cool black and white photo session that I had, and I posted some of these pictures, and during a chat once, someone asked to see your photos. Okay, you send your photos, and they're like, well, that's not you. I'm like, yeah, it is me. And they're like, no, someone else posted these photos. This isn't you.
What
like,
the heck?
that was back then, before it was like it is now, where you can just grab a picture and just like, oh yeah, that's me.
That's like, insane. Oh, I guess the only way to find out is if I sign up for those things. But, like,
yeah, stay away.
Imagine if I wouldn't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just funny to think. There's probably someone out there who's using your pictures to say they're like Jake Smith.
Probably. I'll start to believe that maybe it is true once I find, like, a fake Instagram of me, but I've yet to find that. So.
All right.
I feel like that would be the first step.
DJ, did you hear that? You got to work on a fake Instagram claiming to be Jake. We gotta start it up for him.
We can make that happen.
All right, man. So as we're starting to wind down the show, Jake, we're gonna do a segment here with some word association. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to name off some names from the business. Just tell me the first thing that pops into your head, and we'll do this for about 70 seconds. Are you ready?
Oh, man. Okay.
All right.
Okay,
let's get it going.
Sin City Steve, 70 deadly seconds starts now.
Heather Monroe.
Underrated.
Douglas James.
Passionate.
Eli Everfly.
Crazy.
Chris Bay.
Competition.
Brody King.
Inspiration.
The Bonus Boys.
Nice.
El Mariachi Loco.
Caring. He's very caring, yeah.
Fred Rosser.
Man. I'm just gonna say love. There's so much.
Yeah. The Jungle Boy.
Oh man, the best.
Taya Valkyrie.
Oh my God, fierce.
And last but not least, Joey Ryan.
Oh my God, aspiration. I like aspire.
There you go. Awesome.
You made it, man.
Ooh, that was the most stressful time on a podcast I've ever had in my life.
Perfect. That was just a design.
Yep.
Oh man,
That's awesome, Jake.
that was fun. That was fun, but very stressful.
Look, man. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
No, thank you for having me. This was really fun, actually. I really, really not that I wasn't expecting it to be. I'm just,
No?
I was just saying, podcasts are common, and
Sure.
I actually decline a lot of them.
Mm.
So I'm very, very happy that I did this one, and I thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Well, look, not a problem. Let us know your social media, how we can reach you and keep up with you, and what other dates you have of events coming.
Sure. You can always follow me on Instagram and Twitter. I'm 4,000 away from 10K on Instagram.
Nice.
I am Jake Atlas. You can follow me there. And then the next time that you can see me in action is the most anticipated Santino Brothers wrestling date that I can remember, on August 17th. It's Saturday, August 17th in Southgate, California. I am in a match defending my championship against Ray Rosas, who is, kind of like what I was, years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And, he stepped away from the school for personal reasons, and he's back with a vengeance. It's a lot of people will think that it's a work, but it's very much very real. So I would really like a lot of people to come and watch something that's been almost a decade in the making. So August 17th, Santino Brothers Wrestling, Put Up or Shut Up,
Okay.
in Southgate, California. You've got myself, Slice Boogie's on the card, Douglas James, Heather Monroe, Danny Limelight. It'll be a good one for sure. So please come out to the event and watch it.
Awesome.
Appreciate it. Everyone, Jake Atlas.
Thank you.
No problem.
Vegas Bad Boys of Podcasting.
Thank you so much for checking out that video. If you liked what we did there, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new here, slap that subscribe button and ring the bell. That way you can be a part of the notification squad. Follow us on social media at Vegas Bad Boys with a Z on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And until next time, we will see you in the next video.